All right, even though it's the holidays, it's still a good time to sell your house.
The market is hot, and you can save a lot of money by doing it.
Joining us now is Kevin Rockoff from Rockoff Realty, where he only charges 1% commission on the sale of your home. I find this, as you know, Kevin, I find this fascinating every time you come on the show. And I'm like, really? It's only 1%?
Yeah.
And a lot of the viewers have had questions too. You know, when you hear this, you're like, what? What's the catch?
Right. You get that a lot. And it's funny to me because last week we just sold our 200th home.
Congratulations.
Thank you. All across Connecticut. So it's like, well, it works. It's 1%. It's just I don't have the overhead that I need to pass on to home sellers.
Right.
I don't have a big office because sellers never go to your office and buyers never go to your office. So when you take that cost structure out of the equation, I can make a decent living at 1%, but the competition all just charges 2.5% or 3% for really the same exact job.
Right. They have heating, they have overhead, they have staff. I mean, not that you don't have staff, but they got a bunch of extra things that you don't have.
Well, I have agents, but we all work remote. It's
Perfect.
using the remote tools without having office upon office upon office, again, which sellers never go to, because when we sell a home, we have to go look at the home that we're going to sell and give our staging suggestions and do all that and do our value estimate. So sellers never come to a home. When we work with buyers, 98% of people find their homes online. So buyers will say, well, here's 3 homes I found on Realtor.com. Everyone's got GPS. We meet in the market. We look at the homes. So buyers never go to an office.
Right.
So again, it's just taking the cost structure out and providing a great service at a better price than what the industry currently prices at.
So we've taken some of the questions that you've gotten from viewers, and we're going to answer them here. So
Perfect.
Our first one, do you really do the same job for 1% that realtors usually charge 2.5% or 3% for? And that is coming from Gail. Your answer?
We just kind of touched on that,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it really...
But people still think there's a catch.
Exactly right.
But there's no catch.
200 homes later, there's no catch, and it's been all over the state. Prices from 200 to $1 million. It doesn't matter. The internet has changed the realtor's job dramatically, but the pricing models haven't.
All right, exactly.
So your answer is yes, and you're saying the sale price of a $500,000 home would be $7,500 in savings for the person.
If you take a $500,000 home, so 1% would be I would earn $5,000, but an agent who would charge 2.5% for that same service on $500,000 is going to be $12,500. So it's $7,500 savings, which is about what my average is. That's about how much we on average save our customers.
Yeah, and I've been seeing the testimonials. They are, this is how much I saved. I sold my house. I walked away saving $7,500 or $5,000, and it's money in their pocket.
Absolutely.
It's really a remarkable model. I know. It's crazy.
It's like, okay.
All right,
it works for me.
Let's do the next question. How about the buyer's agent? How much do they get? That's from Karen in Simsbury.
That's an excellent question, because I get that a lot when I go on listing calls. Okay, like, well, you're 1%. How about the buyer side? Now, remember, none of this stuff is mandated by, none of the fees are mandated by the state or what have you. It's really, legally, it's all negotiable.
Okay.
So while it makes sense for me to do 1%, again, the internet has changed the listing agent's job. So it doesn't take more than, say, 10 hours of my billable time on the listing side, because I use a professional photographer, I get the photos, I upload them to MLS, and that's how homes are displayed on the market these days. But when you're doing buyer work, particularly in a tight inventory market, you're going to go see 15, 20, 25 homes with your client. That's your gas, that's your time. It still remains a very labor-intensive process.
Sure.
And all the other sellers are offering 2.5%.
Right.
So why, as a seller, would you want to disincentivize another agent from pushing your home?
That's a very
So
good
really
point.
The savings are on the listing side.
On the
It's the
listing side.
1.5% savings on the listing
Can
side.
I ask you, this might be a stupid question, and I don't know anything about real estate, but is there a season to sell your house? Like fall is better than winter, is better than summer, or is there?
I always thought spring, but...
Well, it's a great question, but it really comes down to supply and demand, right? So right now, I put 3 or 4 houses on the market a week. They're all still going fast.
Okay.
There are fewer sellers on the market, but there's fewer buyers.
Right.
But overall, there still is more buyer demand than there are houses. So really, if you put your house on the spring, there's a lot more buyers, but yeah, there's a lot more sellers. The internet makes a market for homes that if you want to buy a home, you go online, you find the home, and you go look at it.
Okay. All right, perfect.
But there is a seasonality in terms of volume-wise. You don't see a lot of, as people sit down at Thanksgiving, It does tend to slow down just on a volume basis.
Sure, but okay, that's very interesting.
Usually death, divorce, relocation is what you find.
All right, we got a question from James from Southington. Don't you need to be local to list my homes? Like like he's in Southington, would he need a real estate agent that lives in Southington?
Right, and that's one of the concerns that I got when I first started out, which was, I live in Hebron, right? Mm-hmm. But if you understand the nature of the listing agent's job, which is taking beautiful photographs, hopefully beautiful, uploading them to the internet, doing the negotiations and all that stuff, it doesn't matter physically where I am located. And again, I have sold homes in Danbury, New Haven, Thompson, Enfield, pretty much all over the state.
Okay.
So it really doesn't matter. On the buying side, yeah, you do. I would recommend having a local agent that does know the area, knows all that stuff, but on the sales side, it's irrelevant where I'm based.
Okay.
It's very fascinating. The whole thing is just fascinating. I'm
And you do
fascinated
good
by
because
it.
you donate.
We do. We donate for our Realtors for Rescues, $100 every time we buy and sell a home. We find a local shelter, that animal shelter that really needs the assistance.
I think I'm going with you.
You are going next week?
Next
Yeah.
week. We're going to go up to the northeast
Woodstock,
corner.
yeah.
Yeah, Quiet Corner.
Woodcroft, they do wonderful work for opossums.
I know, I love opossums.
I didn't even, my wife found them. I'm like, wow.
No, I know,
You don't
just-
even give them a thought, but they get injured on the
They're
roads all the time.
So dumb.
We're going to have
but
fun.
I love them. They are. They get out there in the road and they look at you. And you're like, get out of the way. Thank you, Kev. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks again.